On Wednesday, Supreme Court will pass directions on a batch of petitions seeking 100% VVPAT EVM cross-verification. Now, this will be a crucial hearing in election season. Election Commission in an earlier hearing had told the top court that it's impossible to tamper with EVMs.
Well, there are basically three points. One was, of course, that they would want a full 100% verification, as you point out. The second was, of course, that they had asked for return to the, paper ballot. And then the last point where they said that there should be a complete and proper checking in terms of how and cross-verify every single vote in terms of whatever has been done. This was a two-day hearing. It was an important right because the petitioner's point of view was that anybody, you or me, who's voting, his vote must be counted, must be verified, must be able to be cross-checked how it is going through. And since the introduction of the VVPAT, they looked at that entire, mismatch that has taken place. The Election Commission, which was headed by the Deputy Election Commissioner, along with the two directors there, explained to the court threadbare about the entire process. And they said that there has been only one case of a mismatch. The court, in its observations during the hearing, had made it clear after listening to both sides that there is no question of returning to the paper ballot, that it's not possible to do a complete 100% verification. But definitely there has been an issue of public trust, about public faith in the entire process. The Election Commission could have done much more in this regard. The Election Commission has said that they've been working for the last 2 to 3 years to really ensure that this election comes out well. They are a constitutional body and that they should be given, as one judge commented, that they may have to have some faith in the system and allow them to go. So we'll see what the orders are tomorrow. It's an important aspect and an important judgment in terms of how the entire process will go forward.
Now, seizing on the remarks by the party's South Goa candidate, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hit out at the party and Rahul Gandhi, accusing them of insulting B.R. Ambedkar's constitution and attempting to break the country after the candidate said that the constitution was foisted on the people of Goa. The BJP's filed a complaint against the candidate with the Goa poll panel. In fact, Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant also spoke exclusively to NDTV and demanded an explanation from Rahul Gandhi.
अब कांग्रेस के गोवा के उम्मीदवार कह रहे हैं कि गोवा पर भारत का संविधान लागू नहीं होता। वो साफ साफ कह रहे हैं कि गोवा पर देश का संविधान थोपा गया और उन्होंने ये बातें कांग्रेस के साहबजादे को बताई है। ये बाबा साहब आंबेडकर का अपमान है कि नहीं है? ये बाबा साहब आंबेडकर का अपमान है कि नहीं है? ये भारत के संविधान का अपमान है कि नहीं है? ये भारत के संविधान के साथ छेड़छाड़ है कि नहीं है? कांग्रेस का उम्मीदवार कह रहा है कि गोवा में संविधान नहीं चलेगा। ये सोची समझी चाल है देश को तोड़ने की। आज गोवा में संविधान को नकार रहे हैं, कल पूरे देश में बाबा साहब आंबेडकर के संविधान को नकारने का पाप करेंगे लोग।
Mr. Pramod Sawant, thank you so much for speaking to us. आपने कंप्लेन भी किया है पोल पैनल से इसके बारे में?
जी हाँ, आपकी बात सही है। हमने गोवा में इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास कैप्टन विरेटो की कंप्लेन की है, जिन्होंने बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर के इस संविधान के ऊपर जो प्रश्न उठाया है, संविधान जो थोपा गया है गोवा के ऊपर, ये स्टेटमेंट किया है, इसके खिलाफ हमने ऑलरेडी कंप्लेन सबमिट की है इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास।
जी, और सावंत जी, जो गोवा कैंडिडेट विरियाटो फर्नांडिस जिस चीज के बारे में एक्चुअली बात कर रहे थे कि ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप, ये उनकी मांग थी कि हमको ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप चाहिए गोवंस के लिए, पोर्चुगीज एंड इंडियन सिटीजनशिप।
उसकी बात ड्यूअल सिटीजन की हो सकती है, लेकिन उसने फोर्सफुली द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ये बात नहीं कहनी चाहिए। और रही बात ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप की, तो हम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के पास कंटिन्यूअसली ये मैटर फॉलो कर रहे थे, और द रिवोकेशन ऑफ द पासपोर्ट और द सरेंडर ऑफ द पासपोर्ट, इससे OCI कार्ड ऑलरेडी उनको मिलने वाला प्रोसेस भी द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने कंप्लीट कर दिया है। If suppose they are getting the after the surrendering या revocation of the passport, उन्हें समझो OCI कार्ड मिलता है तो ये ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप की बात ही नहीं रहती है। जो ये इशू था, ये OCI कार्ड मिलने वाला जो इशू था, वो हमने रिसेंटली मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स और होम अफेयर्स ने ये सर्कुलर निकालने के बाद मुझे लगता है कि इनका इशू जो था वो रिजॉल्व हो गया है।
जी, आप कह रहे हैं भारत तोड़ो वाली बात है। हमारे पास अभी रिएक्शन नहीं है कांग्रेस का। ये जो एलिगेशंस बनाए गए हैं, जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने भी कहा, जो आप कह रहे हैं कि ये सरासर भारत तोड़ो करने की बात है। लेकिन मैं आपको बता रही हूं कि ये कैंडिडेट एक्सप्लेन कर रहे थे जिस तरह से वो उनकी मांग है ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप की, वो हिस्ट्री के बारे में बात कर रहे थे। जब गोवा का इंडिपेंडेंस हुआ, जिस समय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जब इफेक्टिव हुआ इंडिया में, तो उसकी बात कर रहे थे। तो वहां से ये तोड़ने की बात कहां से हो गई है?
उनकी क्लियर स्टेटमेंट देखो, उन्होंने कहा है कि फोर्सफुली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया हैज इम्प्लीमेंटेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इन द स्टेट। ये स्टेटमेंट नहीं होना चाहिए, इसीलिए मैं बता रहा हूँ। और उन्होंने कहा भी कि मैंने खुद वो के बात राहुल गांधी जी से की और राहुल गांधी जी ने इसके ऊपर हाँ द पॉइंट इन इट ये स्टेटमेंट किया। उसकी वीडियो है और वो सोशल मीडिया पे क्लियर कट है, पब्लिक में है, पब्लिक डोमेन में है। और इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि राहुल गांधी should come clear on this statement.
In fact, listen into what the Congress candidate had said earlier, which had stoked this controversy.
I said, sir, please listen. Constitution was implemented on 26 January 1950. We were not part of India. आणि जेन्ना 1961 आम्ही लिबरेट झाले ते कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पण तुम्ही पास केले, जाका आमकां तुम्ही इन्क्लूड करूंक ना, ते हाडून आमचे तकलेर मारले।
Shifting focus now, and Priyanka Gandhi has lashed out at the BJP, saying that BJP is busy toppling governments and spreading lies. In fact, Priyanka Gandhi said all this while campaigning in Chitradurga.
हमारे हिंदू धर्म की परंपरा रही है, हमारे देश की राजनीति की परंपरा भी रही है कि सत्य के पथ पर चल के सेवा भाव से देश की सेवा की जाए। और उसी सेवा भाव से चाहे भगवान राम ने प्रजा के लिए काम किया, प्रजा के को आगे बढ़ाया, उसी सेवा भाव से महात्मा गांधी जी ने आपकी सेवा की। लेकिन आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार में, उनके 10 सालों के राज में सिर्फ झूठों का बोलबाला है।
Now on to one of NDTV's exclusive. Now just ahead of Bengaluru going for elections on April 26, the second phase, NDTV spoke exclusively to Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, where he in fact asserted that NDA will not get over 220 seats and that there's no Modi wave in India or specifically in Karnataka. Let's listen into that exclusive conversation that my colleague Veera Raghav had.
How would you respond to those who say that Siddaramaiah personality and state government's work is very important in an assembly election, but in a parliamentary election, the Narendra Modi image may have an edge?
What is the image that he has? The Modi, what is the image he has when he has failed to fulfill the promises which he has made to the people of the country? How the same image will be continued?
So you don't see him having an impact in these elections?
I don't think there is a Modi wave in the entire country. Particularly in Karnataka, there is no wave.
The JDS and the BJP coming together, it didn't work out in 2019. You understand the JDS very well as well. Is there a worry? It's being called a natural ally. Is there a worry that that could potentially be a strong grassroots alliance in terms of caste arithmetic?
No, it is not. See, it is an unholy alliance.
What do you think is the most critical challenge in the old Mysuru region, your own home turf? Do you believe that that's going to be a very difficult challenge to hold on to the seats? Last time the Congress got only one seat in the old Mysuru region, in fact in the whole of Karnataka.
Last time the situation was different because they projected emotional issues. This time Narendra Modi has to tell what are the achievements that he has made during his 10 years tenure. That he is not talking. See, yes, there are no achievements of Narendra Modi. There are no what he has made, the promises which he has made to the people of the country, and those promises will never be fulfilled.
So you're saying that there are so many issues. The one counter that's been observed is that while the INDIA alliance and the Congress has stated these issues, it has not offered a solution. Do you believe that the lack of a prime ministerial face for the INDIA alliance is an inherent disadvantage as you head into an election against a personality like Narendra Modi?
See, you are all under the illusion that Narendra Modi is having a very big personality like that. What was he? See, he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. Before becoming the Prime Minister of this country. What is his contribution to the national politics?
So you're saying it's not a disadvantage not to have a prime ministerial face?
Yes, it's not at all a disadvantage to the India.
You've been asked this many times. Is there a worry that there could be, the results of these elections could result in instability for the state government? Is there a fear of that?
No such fear. Because instability will come only if the people are unhappy. The stability means the government continues for 10 years is not a stability. See, the people should also be political, that their social and political and economic empowerment should be there to the people of this country. Then only we can say that the country is stable.
Now on to one of our hot seat constituencies in Assam, where 5 Lok Sabha seats would go to polls in the second phase. And the most prestigious and talked about is the seat of Silchar in Assam's Barak Valley region, known as Assam's Bengali heartland. Ratnadeep Chaudhary reports.
Political mercury has peaked in Silchar. This seat falls in Assam's Barak Valley region bordering Bangladesh. In this prestigious seat, Assam's Bengali heartland, it's a battle royale. A key seat outside Bengal in eastern India, where the TMC is in a triangular fight with the BJP and Congress. Stakes are so high that political parties have rolled in big guns here. From Mamata Banerjee to Amit Shah, everyone had campaigned, but no Congress bigwigs were seen in Silchar. Silchar was among the first Lok Sabha seats that BJP had ever won in Northeast way back in the 90s. The then MP, Kabindra Purakaista, was a minister in Vajpayee government. The Congress still remains strong here with the domination of the Dev family, first former Union Minister late Santosh Mohan Dev, and then his daughter Shushmita Dev, who is now with the TMC. Shushmita, who is campaigning hard for the TMC, had contested 2019 polls on a Congress ticket but was defeated by BJP's Dr. Rajdeep Roy, who has been denied ticket this time. After the recent delimitation exercise in Assam, Silchar has become a scheduled caste reserve constituency, and this might actually help the BJP because issues like Ram Mandir and CAA has major resonance here and therefore might help the party galvanize support of the Bengali Hindus who were majority in this constituency, where there are more than 40% Muslim voters as well. The BJP has fielded Assam's senior cabinet minister and an old RSS BJP hand, Parimal Shuklavaidya, a soft-spoken grassroots leader.
আপোনালোকে দেখিব এবাৰ নিৰ্বাচনত শিলচৰ লোকসভা কক আৰু গোটেই অসমৰ যি ঠাইত আমাৰ লোকসভাত আমি আমাৰ মিত্ৰজোঁটে মিলি প্ৰাৰ্থী প্ৰক্ষেপ কৰিছোঁ সব ঠাইত মাইনৰিটি বন্ধুসকলে আৰু আমাৰ স্থানীয় ৰাইজ যিসকলক আমি মেজৰিটি কওঁ বা বিভিন্ন সম্প্ৰদায় ভাষা জনগোষ্ঠী আছে সকলে মিলি ভাৰতীয় জনতা পাৰ্টিৰ প্ৰাৰ্থীক বিজয়ী কৰিব।
TMC has fielded former Karimganj MP from AIUDF, Radheshyam Biswas, who recently switched over, but the face of the campaign is Sushmita Dev, who is targeting her former party.
আমি বলবো যে আসামে বিজেপির সঙ্গে লড়াই করার মতো যদি আজকের দিনে কোনো দল থাকে সেটা হলো মমতা ব্যানার্জির দল সর্বভারতীয় তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস। আপনারা বিচার করে দেখবেন যারা কংগ্রেসের ভোটে জিতে আসে ওরা জিতার পরে ভারতীয় জনতা পার্টিতে চলে যায়।
The Congress campaign isn't as high-pitched as BJP or TMC. After decades, someone other than the Dev family is contesting. Congress candidate Suryakanta Sarkar was Sushmita Dev's close aide for years.
सेकुलर वोट है उसको डिवीजन करने का जो षड्यंत्र है ये षड्यंत्र यहाँ का जो जनता है इसने नाकाम करेगा। लीडर दूसरा तो चला गया जरूर, लेकिन जनता का आपको भी कमी देखा है क्या? कांग्रेस का हर सभा में जो सामने में बैठने वाला जो एक दो नेता था वो चला गया, लेकिन जनता को भी कांग्रेस का साथ नहीं छोड़ा।
The memories of the 2022 massive Silchar flood, when the Barak River water entered the town, might generate an undercurrent of resentment. Citizenship, unemployment, infrastructure and better connectivity for this landlocked Barak Valley region remains key issues in this triangular fight. In Guwahati, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Staying with election news, now the BJP has not yet announced its candidate from Kaisarganj Lok Sabha seat in Uttar Pradesh. Former WFI chief, former Wrestling Federation of India chief and BJP MP Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, who is accused in sexual harassment case by wrestlers and is the sitting MP from Kaisarganj, is eyeing a re-election bid. He's claimed that ultimately it will be the party's call, but he's also one of the contenders. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh is 6-time MP and has won thrice from Kaisarganj.
प्रत्याशी ब्रजभूषण शरण सिंह होंगे?
नहीं, पार्टी तय करेगी, पार्टी तय करेगी।
आप नेताजी जिस तरीके का संकेत आप दे रहे हैं,
नहीं देखिए, पार्टी ही तय करेगी प्रत्याशी कौन होगा, लेकिन उसमें मैं एक दावेदार हूँ, लेकिन पार्टी को तय करना है प्रत्याशी कौन होगा, और जो भी प्रत्याशी होगा बड़ी दमदारी से चुनाव जीत करके जाएगा।
With that, we'll slip into a short break. Keep watching NDTV. Welcome back. Now, former Kalakshetra faculty and renowned dancer Srijit Krishna has been arrested for alleged sexual harassment. A few former students had alleged sexual harassment on the campus between 1996 and 2001. Kalakshetra, remember, had already suspended Professor Hari Padman for sexual harassment last year amid complaints from students. Now, after an ABC journalist alleged that she had to leave India abruptly and her visa extension was denied, that she was being stopped from covering Indian elections, sources in the MEA have clarified that her claims are incorrect. My colleague Ghazali has more.
MEA sources claim that Ms. Dias was found to have violated visa rules while undertaking her professional pursuits, and in spite of this, on her request, she was assured that her visa would be extended for the coverage of the general elections. Her previous visa was valid till 20th April 2024, and later when she paid the visa fee on April 18, her visa was extended till the end of June on the same day, but she chose to leave India on April 20. And the source further added that the visa extension is stood approved at the time she left. And as far as the general elections coverage is concerned, this was mentioned to her or shared with her that while your visa processing is on, that later could not be issued to cover the general elections. And the source mentioned that her point about not being given permission to cover elections is also factually incorrect, because coverage of election activities outside of polling booths is permitted to all journalists, visa holders. Authority letters are required only for access to polling booths and counting stations. This, however, could not be processed while the visa extension is under process. So this was something which was shared with the ABC journalist, and the MEA sources claim that whatever she's claiming in her statement or social media post that she was not allowed to cover elections and all, it's factually incorrect.
And with that, it's a wrap. Keep watching NDTV.